Hello everyone, it's Nathan here again, and today we're going to be looking at how to borrow elements from other mods and use them in our own. And I'm not talking about just, copying and pasting and claiming it as our own work, or, even giving credit back to the original creator, which I'm going to have to say, if you did do something like that, you had better give credit back, because it's very uncool to steal and then claim it's your own work and not give proper credit. So here's what we're gonna do: making another craft, and it's gonna be an interesting one. Let me just put it at that right now. This is admittedly probably one of the most insane crafts I have seen, but it goes to well, not really prove a point, but show how something needs to be done. So we're going to create something that gives us 5 iron lumps when we craft charcoal and a lump of dirt. Why charcoal and a lump of dirt to make iron? I don't know. And I felt it would be unusual and new and, well, weird, definitely. But yeah. So here we go. We made it. No, I should mention this more fire default. Or what am I saying? More fire charcoal. That's from another mod I created. It would be this guy right here. And charcoal is just made by cooking wood. It's a fuel recipe here. Or cooking recipe, rather. You type group tree to get more fire charcoal. So we're not going to end up doing that, though. I'm just going to use the give me command because it's way easier and faster. But so we have this new recipe. So let us launch Minetest. We have new mod here. New mod is enabled. We hit play. There is an error. Failed to load and run. Why would it fail to load and run? Let's check our debug. So let me just open a new file here. And actually, I know exactly why it failed to load and run. But what do you do when you get that error? Failed to load and run. Doesn't really tell us too much. Oh wait. Yeah, it failed to load and run because I don't know how to type. Register. It's one reason why debug is so helpful. It's also helpful if you don't talk when you're trying to type and spell. Okay, so let's try it now. And actually, we didn't get an error, which is kind of surprising. In 4.10, we always got the error. In 4.11, we don't anymore, though. So I will do this, more fire, charcoal, and you'll see in the top left corner there, issued command give me more fire charcoal, cannot give unknown item. But we just called it. We did, but it wasn't loaded. So we will exit to the menu. At this point, it's not going to do anything. It'll say, it doesn't exist. We can't use it. So what we should do, let me show you something real quick here. When you do your settings, it has this big black box which says depends. And on a lot of items here, I'll tell you it depends on default and fire. Default, and this is a soft depends. Elements will be added if you have this MG mod enabled. If you don't, it'll still work. You'll just be missing some things. The HUD mod, pretty much everything here, it can work with, but you don't necessarily have to have all of those except for defaults. Our new mod at the moment doesn't even depend on default, which honestly it should. So we are going to fix it right now and create a new document. Call it depends.txt. Launch that up. Default should pretty much be in everything. And more underbar fire because, underscore underbar, whatever you call it, because we are using something from that mod. So now, we go back in here, cancel that, configure this. Hey, new mod. Now it says we need to have defaults and more fire for it to work. We play, and still loads just fine. But this time, if we look at the debug, yes, let's please reload it. It tells us right here, Single player, blah, 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 here. Error mod, new mod has unsatisfied dependencies, more fire. As of the release of 4.11, it now lets you load it up even if you have unsatisfied dependencies. In 4.10, and I think even most of the daily dev editions until 4.11 came out, that was not the case. And you would load it and just give you an error. Now you can load it and it kind of silently ignores it and just puts it into the debug. So it's helpful if you know to look there. If you don't look there, you'll never find out why it's not working. But so we're going to enable more fire because that's listed as it depends. And we will play. And then next server, do all that fun stuff. Then we'll do give me, whoops, more fire charcoal. And we get our charcoal. And let's dig some dirt. And let's try crafting these two. And we get an iron lump. Now, if we do it upside down, we get nothing. On something like this, you kind of want to let it, work in wherever they put into the crafting table. Sometimes, like with a torch, it does make sense to have them stacked up, which right now this will do. I'm going to show you how we can do it without needing that. Let's see, just close that out. We have a recipe. And let me just take a really quick blah, 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 blah. Let's see, we do Shapeless. I think I'm doing this right. I should reference some of my other materials. You don't know that's not right. Easiest way to check how to do this. Jump over to my fire one here. I know I have a shapeless recipe in this. Shapeless. Oh, you do type shapeless. That's what we do. So, indent. It'll work without the indent, but it's better to, make it look nice, and that should be in quotes. Obviously, we need the trailing comma on there. That was weird. It throws up an error because that quote is never started. Alright. Okay, and then the recipe looks like we stick with the same thing. Default dirt. Again, I should not be typing whilst speaking. And more fire charcoal. And then we just close this out in our normal exiting fashion. Like that. And save. And play. And I probably have a typing error in there. Default iron lump 5. Default dirt. More fire charcoal. And you have an extra comma that I don't really need. Type output recipe. What am I doing wrong? Oh, looks like I have an extra end bracket that doesn't exist. Alright, let's try that again. Alright, it's working now. Alrighty, so now, no matter where we put 2 in the crafting grid, we can get our 5 lumps of iron. And obviously this works for anything. It's not, something that only works with lumps of iron and whatever. So that was kind of a silly point. But let's do something that's, maybe a little more practical. Something that's, you might actually want to do. So we'll do another craft here. Okay, and this craft is going to output something from another mod. So there is a mod out there that's called Flint, and it pretty much adds flint, which you can randomly find when you're digging gravel, and it creates a flint and steel recipe that creates a lighter, which you can use to start anything on fire, actually, which is kind of weird, because you can... Yeah, I'm going to use cobble. I don't feel like using steel, because then I'd have to get steel, and, you know, cobble's just easier. But no, it's kind of weird, because you can use the flint and steel, and you can, like, start a tree on fire, which, I don't know if you've ever tried to start a tree on fire, or anything on fire, for that matter, with flint and steel. Yeah, it's not, really as easy as the movies might make it seem. Okay, so here we have a recipe that not only does it output something that's, you know, not even part of Minecraft recipe here, or my mods recipes. What am I trying to say here? It outputs something that's not one of my mods nodes. And it uses an element that's not part of my mod at all. In fact, nothing in here is specific to my mod. We've got some default, we've got more fire, and we have flint. So we're going to save this, and then we are going to want to... Well, actually, let's not. Let's configure this. Let's add flint. And save, play. What did I do wrong here? Mr. Craft. We have a closing there, dump. Oh, forgot to put the comma in there. It's the little things, I tell you, man. It's the little things. Okay, so we are connected. And let's just do some commands here. Do 20 combos, and then we'll do 20 pieces of flintstone too. And now our recipe called for the flint under the cobble, which is actually creating a lighter. Which I don't know if that's actually what I thought it was going to do. Oh yeah, it is. Good. Honestly, I don't really want the street all burned to the ground. That would not be a good thing to happen. Okay, so we have just created something, but now you'll notice I didn't put in my depends that we needed this. So it will work to use stuff from other mods, even if you don't have it in your depends file. But it's a good idea to do that, because if you post it on the forum, and you're like, yeah, I got all these cool nodes and all these sweet tools, and they're like, your mod doesn't work. And it's like, well, maybe you're missing some dependencies. According to Minetest, I've got everything I need. I'm not getting an error when I load it in the debug. It's like, oh yeah, well, I forgot to put 7 dependencies in my depends.txt file. People would not appreciate that. So anytime you use anything in your recipes, in your crafting, anywhere in here that is not new mod, or obviously whatever your mod's name is, mod new, you should call that out in your depends file. Usually you're okay to not call out the default, because pretty much every single subgame out there has default in it, but it doesn't hurt to do it. Yeah, so what else was I going to do? Oh, let's do one more craft recipe here. And now this one's actually going to be a little more practical. This is something that you could actually potentially want to use. This one, again, is going to require us having another mod. Not to worry, because farming is part of Minetest game. So you won't have to go out and download a mod in order to use this, because if you're running Minetest game, or pretty much any other one, you'll have farming already. Now, this is a quite quite long recipe here. They might be saying, why in the world is this grass underbar 1? And I'm trying to talk and type, and I'm doing a terrible job today. Sorry about that. Anyways, it's called grass underbar 1 because there's, I think, 5 different stages of grass growth. And actually, I could have highlighted the whole thing here. 5 different stages of grass growth. And anytime you punch grass and pick it up, you get grass underbar 1. Anytime you place it, from what I remember reading in the code when I was trying to figure out what the node name for grass was, anytime you punch, or anytime you place grass, it randomly selects between 1 and 5, or 1 and 3, whatever the quantities are for its stages of growth. And so, yeah, default grass underscore 1 is the grass that you get when you punch grass. So, let us play this. And for this. Oh, I got seeds? I didn't want seeds. I need some grass. I need quite a bit of grass, actually. 3, well, 4, 5. Come on, I need 9 grass. This is something that's a little more practical than the other recipes we've been doing. Yes! Okay. So now we can take our 9 pieces of grass. And this is actually going to be... And we get a piece of cotton. And then obviously if we had 4 pieces of cotton, we could get a block of wool. And then we could make a bed or a sleeping bag. This is kind of teasers for the survival mod that we're going to be starting working on pretty soon. This recipe is actually one of the recipes that will be included in that mod, because sometimes you just don't have the time to go around and plant cotton and harvest it and get the seeds. I mean, look at how long I've been digging, and what do I have? Wheat seeds. 3 wheat seeds. And I have already, I'm talking like 20-something pieces of grass I've punched through. So, it makes the game a little easier, but it still keeps it difficult, because there's enough of this grass that we have to collect in order to get a piece of string, so it still takes a lot of time. It doesn't make things just too simple and easy, and, I mean, if you want it that simple, you may as well just give me, I don't think wool's in defaults. I forget what it's in. It's not farming. Maybe it is in defaults. I'm not positive. But whatever it's in, I mean, you could just type that if you really wanted to avoid the work. But, just like, another recipe would be handy. So yeah, when you're doing crafts, you don't just have to be outputting stuff from your own mod. I mean, here we've outputted something from farming, something from Flint, and part of default game we even exported. Or not exported, crafted. And this is all still running inside of our mod. Now we can also redefine crafts, and we'll probably look at that in the next coming weeks. Still in the works to do before we start on the survival is we are going to redefine other mods nodes. Really easy to do, actually. I've done it on my Morfire one, so we're going to look at that. We are going to take a look at doing conditional statements. So, like when we had those, I'll just pull them up here, like framed glass, I guess. You have an optional choice to use dye. It'll still run without dye, but if you do have dye, you get extra things. We're going to take a look at how we set that up. So we have pretty much, so if you're using, say, creative inventory, or if you are doing, what's that called? I think Inventory Plus, where it gives you a listing of all the available crafting recipes. It won't list anything that requires the dye ones from framed glass, because that's not a loaded mod that you're using. So we'll take a look at how to do that. And then I want to probably take a look a little more in depth to doing some stuff with mesh. And then we're going to be starting on the survival mod. So that's probably going to happen, I'm going to say probably around March. We'll probably be starting up on the survival mod. And that one will be all put up on GitHub. Videos I record every Wednesday, and they get released. These ones I think get released on Friday. Yeah. Modding videos for Friday. So I will be posting everything on my blog, and you'll be able to watch it on Wednesday, or you can wait till Friday when it publishes. Always make sure you watch my videos before they go a month old, because after a month I do enable monetization, because I am obviously trying to make a little bit of extra cash. You know, never hurts. So all my videos I do enable ads after 1 month, so just watch them before then, you don't have to worry about it. Or use an ad blocker, which you should probably be doing anyways. But some people like ads, I don't know. Anyways, thank you for watching, and be back again next week with another video talking about modding in Minetest.